What is up, Retro Maniacs? My name is Mike. His name's Joe. His name's EP, and we're here to talk about cards. A couple weeks ago, we gave you our 5 things that really dumb card collectors do. But in fairness, not all card collectors are dumb. So this week, we want to give you our top 5 things that smart card collectors do. And since we're trying to be positive today, Mr. Positive down there, EP, I'm going to let you go first after I give you the topic. The first thing that we collectively decided that smart collectors do is they do research. They educate themselves about what they're buying, what they're selling maybe. They understand comps and how to look them up and when things are maybe outliers for comps. Knowing like where to buy, where's a good place to find this card that I'm looking for. Smart people do the research, they do their homework, they know what they're doing. You have to have some kind of understanding what you're doing in this hobby if you're buying stuff, because you can lose a lot of money really fast if you don't really understand what you're doing.
Watch the pod.
Exactly. You're buying into breaks trying to hit a player or something from a team that's actually not even in the break or doesn't have an autograph. So you need to do some homework before you start buying cards. EP, your thoughts?
Well, first off, I don't mind being the golden retriever of this podcast. I'm totally okay with that. So, but I feel like we didn't rank these in order of importance. I don't think just
just a random
flow of the show. But I also feel like maybe this is the most important one. Like if you're going to be spending your money, know how you're spending it, where you're spending it. Like this is very, very important. But I'm guilty of this too. I bought 2 boxes of 1997 Finest football, thinking I would get a Tiki Barber rookie card or 2 Tiki Barber rookie cards. There's no Tiki Barber rookie card in there. So even this guy does it. I'm sitting here saying to do this because it's very, very important. This understanding what you're buying, what's in the set, all that sort of stuff. It is one of the most important things you could probably do as a collector, and it would make you a better collector for sure.
The smartest thing our host did was go to EP for the positive. I'm such a negative guy. That's why I flourished in the dumb things. I flourished in that. So it's a little bit harder for me with being positive. But I will say, really, really great example. But I'll even give a better example than the Tiki Barber thing. How many people during the boom bought 2000 Tops and 2000 Tops Chrome looking for Tom Brady rookies? Nope, he is not in that set. And if you didn't research, people would put Brady's rookie year in the description, and they're not lying. He just doesn't have any cards in that set. So you do have to be smart. You do have to do the research, not just who's in a set or what kind of hits you can get, but also the price. This is the biggest thing for me. It's go and make sure, go to Terapeak. It's generally for, what's it called now? Seller's Assist or whatever.
Product research.
Product research. Go to product research on eBay and just kind of give yourself a baseline of what some things cost. Because at the end of the day, I say this all the time, shit costs money. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in some other ones. But you need to be cognizant of what things cost. And you need to be prepared to negotiate with someone after you've done your research and say, maybe we can work something out. Because if you're just, I'm not going to do research, I'm just going to buy something, chances are you're going to get taken advantage of. And there are too many people in this hobby who are willing to take advantage of you. It's kind of their modus operandi, it seems. So make yourself an educated buyer, I think, in the grand scheme of things, and you'll do okay.
All right. The next one on the list is smart collectors have good timing. You can buy cards anytime. Sometimes are a little bit better than others. Case in point, if you want to buy maybe, a Jaden Daniels Prism Base PSA 10, maybe when they're selling up to $1,000 a card isn't the best time to do it. And smart collectors know this. There's a lot of hype. If a player has hype, don't get the FOMO. That's the worst time to buy. if there's a product that just comes out, you see it over and over and over again. Stuff, the first ones that are listed on eBay, that first couple days, maybe up to a week, stuff is selling at a level up here. And if you're patient, you know that in a couple weeks, all that stuff is going to be selling for a fraction of what it's selling for right now. If you're looking to sell a card, knowing when to put it up for sale, if you're looking to buy a card of a player, baseball players, every off season, baseball cards go down. Most football cards, even after the season starts, go down. People that are smart in this hobby know how these cycles work, and they know the best time to buy them, and they save themselves a lot of money by doing so.
Yeah, I mean, I put together the case project back in 2023, and if you're talking about buying like volume of product of things to open, you want to have it the day it launches, because you're going to get the highest prices every time you sell it. Like if you're trying to make money and try to turn that into more cases, you need to have it on launch day. You need to have cards listed on launch day, because people are going to pay a premium. And if they wait a month, they're going to be able to get the same cards for a significant. I didn't do any percentage numbers or whatever, but for significant less. Like, it's not even going to be close how much cheaper it's going to be. The Jayden Daniels example, like, even if he wins the Super Bowl, it's going to be a bump on Super Bowl, but then 2 weeks later, a month later, that card's going to go down in value. And 2 months after that, it's going to be way down. You're going to be able to get it way, way cheaper. Like, this timing thing is so important if you're buying, especially if you're buying to, to build your collection.
2 adages: timing is everything, and I forgot the second one. Hold on. Timing is everything. Oh, here it is. I got it. I had an EP moment. Timing is everything, and if you're not first, you're last, right? So in terms of the timing thing, I'll say I very rarely give investment advice on this channel, because I think that's silly, and we're not experts in investing. But I said a couple of months ago, you are dumb buying Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Drake May cards. I said, go buy JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix if you really want to, kind of invest, right? The timing was there because McCarthy's hurt and Penix wasn't starting. Guess what? A couple of weeks later, Penix started. It's like I saw things in the future after watching Kirk Cousins play football this year. And
his whole career. Yeah.
Right. But that's the whole point. It's like, there are certain players that aren't playing right now that make more sense to go after than the ones that you're paying for on the high. I will never understand it. Like, this whole sell high, buy low. It's just like selective amnesia with some collectors. They don't get that a lot of the time. And to your point, EP, that's what made me think of, if you're not first, you're last. You want to be the first one out to the market as a seller. Mm-hmm. Because if you're waiting, if you're dragging your feet, if you're waiting for PSA to grade some cards, sometimes that could be a detriment to you as well. So, like, in your case, you did a very, very smart thing where you opened up that case and SGC was having a special, and SGC's quick, right? So you sent them off to SGC to get them back. You played the timing game. You got your SGC 10s out on eBay before the people who sent their cards to PSA would have gotten them back. You were smart about that. That's what you have to do in terms of timing. You have to kind of play the market a little bit. And as a buyer, unless it's a 101, you can wait.
I was going to say, the exception is rarity, right? The super rare stuff.
Rarity is the exception. But by and large, Jayden Daniels base rookies, for example, there's a lot of them. You can wait, and you have to wait unless you want to be, again, taken across the coals. Smart collectors know that.
And that's part of having good timing too. If a card's rare, if it's a low number card, you might need to jump on it right away. You know the difference between the card you can wait on and the card you have to jump on. Because with breaking and stuff, so many of the cards are being thrown into the market early and often that if a card's numbered to 3 or 5, they're going in somebody's collection. You may never see them again. So, or it could take years.
I want to make a quick point about that. So this is the duel with Shatner and Picard, or Shatner and Stewart, right? Someone had posted one and they didn't know what they had, and they posted it on eBay for $3,000. It got bought 10 seconds later. No one's haggling. The timing was there. They knew they had to buy that card. And here I am. I already have 2 of them. I'm kicking myself in the ass every time I think about it that I did not see that card quick enough. So yes, timing works that way too, Mike. If you're looking for something rare, if you're looking for something to fill your collection, sure, don't put your house up for sale to get it, but the timing has to work out and you have to be smart about it.
Yeah, if you do your research, like we talked about in the first topic, like you guys both said, you know that a Panini Prism Gold, they're numbered 10. They're not going to come up very often. So if you see it pop up, like you have to decide.
Play that timing.
You have to decide right away. Like I need to buy this now, or I can't buy this now. But you need to decide it right away.
All right, number 3 on the list. I like this one personally because I don't always follow this, but
also guilty.
Having focus in your collection. You don't have to just collect one thing, but know what you want to collect. Don't just come into this buying everything up. If you don't sell cards, if you see a collection of cards on Facebook Marketplace, like 10 boxes, 5,000 count boxes of cards, maybe don't buy them. You have to understand what you want to do. Are you a player collector? Are you a team collector? Are you somebody who puts sets together? This is another example I have. Some of us, I'm one of them, are guilty of putting a bunch of different sets together at one time, and then you never get any of them all the way finished. Right. So focus on things. Okay, I'm going to take these 2 sets and I'm going to get them finished up, and then I'll move on to the other ones. There's a lot of different ways you can look at this, but if you have a focus in the hobby, you won't end up with a screen like EP has in the background there with just stuff everywhere. I have it too. You just can't see mine. But yeah, again, I'm not always good at this. So having focus is a really smart thing to do in this hobby.
You were asking a question. You ask yourself, are you a player collector? Are you a team collector? Are you a set collector? The answers are all yes. Yep, all of them
and everything else.
If it's cool, I want it. If it's the set looks cool, I want the whole set. Like that's just how I am. And so I really have to try really hard to break myself of that, because I do understand the importance of focus. I understand that my collection would be better. My time in the hobby would be better if I was more focused. So you just need to, you see something shiny, sometimes you just need to send that shiny thing off and say, okay, well, I don't need that or whatever. It's very, very difficult. I got some boxes of some non-sports, some Marvel cards, Spider-Man cards that I got to complete the sets. They are still sitting unsorted in the box. That's just who I am. I've started building another set since then. And just like it is not a premium, like a prime way to do this hobby.
And going from the least focused to Mr. Focus over here.
Joe would lose his mind if he saw my boxes.
I'm having a panic attack you explaining what you're talking about right now. I'm like, I need to stretch because I feel like this is my time to shine.
It is
a little bit. I mean, all those nice things you said about how smart it is to focus, I feel were directed at me, Mike, because I am Mr. Focus. My OCD finally paying off, I see here on the channel. I'm uber focused. I if I know I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to complete it. I'm not going to let a lot of other noise jump in. I got a complete list. I have Google Docs. I've got emails. I've got lists. I know exactly what I want to collect, when I want to collect. And sometimes it sounds like sterile. It's like, oh, that's boring. But I find ways to make it fun. Like I take a lot of pride in completing a set. And I will go through, I'll go on ComC for hours one day and be like, okay, I need this insert, I need that insert. I think if you don't have focus, and we're kind of like talking about, and we'll talk more detail about money here in a couple of them, but if you're not focused, that's a really good way to lose a lot of money. It's a really good way to waste a lot of money. So you kind of have to have a focus a little bit. If I swing by and I forget where I was at, but I saw a couple of cards that I thought they were just cool looking cards. I picked them up. Like it's not part of my plan. So you don't have to be like laser focused, but just be generalized. In general, be focused a little bit about what you want to collect. And that way, I think once you complete whatever that is, and you move on to the next one, it's more fulfilling. It's like, I accomplished this. Now I can move on to the next thing. There are some people that really just enjoy the shotgun style, right? Where it's like just, like, pellets just all over the place. And that can be fun too. But at the end of the day, if you don't have focus, I think it's going to hinder you in the long run.
Or you look at EP's background and look at your background. There is the difference between focus and non-focus.
You have no idea how stress this is causing me. How much stress that my effing pro molds are not in yet. Watch the pod. And this second display is not up. But once it is, I'm focused on that. Right now, that's my number one focus, is actually mapping out that second display.
I'm sure it is. All right, number 4 on the list is knowing to spend your money wisely. This can take all shapes and forms. Some people might need to be on a budget so they don't, overcommit themselves. Other people know that, there's a good deal, I'm going to jump on that. Budget be damned. I'm not saying you have to have a budget. I'm saying some people need to have a budget. Other people like to take advantage of stuff, but they know that this is the time to buy that because I'm getting this deal. People that buy collections, if you sell cards, sometimes things come up that I'm going to buy that because I could do really well. That's my kind of stuff. Some people have the hobby pay for themselves. They spend their money to buy stuff to sell so they can buy stuff to keep. There are all different ways to do it, but the one thing that makes you smart is if you do it wisely.
This is something that I'm guilty of in the past, of spending money I didn't have, or spending money and not having a plan. Putting those things together that's a disaster waiting to happen.
See, point number 3.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So I mean, so that's like, so I now use the hobby to pay for the hobby. I'm very much I'm as guilty as anybody of buying a blaster box here or there that isn't part of my hobby money, but I'm not spending hundreds of dollars a month on blasters, or even thousands of dollars a month on hobby boxes like some people can. I don't have the kind of money. I don't have the kind of income to do that. So what I like to do though is I like I enjoy the selling of cards as well. And so I think spending wisely also means to use the hobby to your advantage, the built-in marketplace to your advantage, and use that money and use only that money. If you don't have a lot of expendable income, this is a perfect hobby for you if you follow the rules and you stay focused and you spend wisely, and you educate yourself. Just hitting all of them there. Like if you do all those things, you can use the hobby to pay for the hobby and really enjoy it. I'm a huge proponent of using the hobby to pay for the hobby. I will always be that.
At the end of the day, it comes down to, don't spend beyond your means. And I say this a lot in my personal life and here when we do videos. I don't presume to know anyone else's finances. You could be a bajillionaire for some reason to watch our show, or you could be someone who is buying junk wax and that's their cap, that's their max that they can pay for. You have to know your specific situation. The one thing I always say, if we were going to make a t-shirt with our sayings, each of our sayings, mine would be, don't put the hobby on a credit card. Like, be certain that you can, on a month-to-month basis, pay for something. Because if you're putting it on a credit card, that means that you're going to accrue interest if you don't pay that credit card off at the end of the month. So yeah, you need to set some sort of boundaries, some sort of limitations on yourself, especially if you are someone who may get caught up in, and we talked about this a lot on Monday, and it drained us, how much we talked about it on Monday. If you're someone who can get caught up in some stuff and you feel like you can't control your spending, you need to set yourself on a budget. If you're someone who, though, we did talk about, if something comes up and it's like, this is too good of a deal to pass up, you gotta think about that too. But then for me personally, and I already mentioned that, the card, the Shatner Stewart, the reason I ended up buying that card is because I knew I was going to sell my Tom Brady playoff contenders rookie card. I let the hobby pay for itself because I knew it would be ridiculous to have both of those cards in my home at the same time, right? So just be smart. Again, it's a built-in theme here. Just be smart about it. I mean, you know your financial situation better than we do. Be willing to like take a step back and say, can I afford this? Is this something that I should be paying for? Is this something that I should be buying? Yeah, you can buy a blaster box every couple months or whatever. That's not going to break the bank. But if you're thinking, I'm going to buy $1,000 hobby box every month, that's $12,000 a year. That's one box of cards a month. Put that into perspective. So if you feel you can take, in some cases, 20% of your bring home pay, just looking at median household incomes across the country, if you feel you can take that and put it towards hobby boxes, good on you, man. But you need to be cognizant. You need to self-reflect a little bit financially.
All right. And the fifth and final point that we've come up with that really smart collectors do is they collect what they love. And let me update this because everybody says collect what you love. Yeah. Just do what makes you happy in the hobby. Like that could be anything. You want to collect certain players or certain teams, fine. If you want to invest in cards and you find happiness in doing that and do it within your means from the last point, do it. If you want to buy into breaks, if you enjoy the hobby that way, fine. If you want to rip boxes, but again, do it to the point so you can enjoy it. Don't get yourself overwhelmed. But at the end of the day, this is all supposed to be fun. Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of it gets caught up in how much is stuff worth? How much can I make on this? Can I get a big hit? There's a gambling rush, a gambling element of the hobby now. But look, there's nothing wrong with gambling if you do it responsibly. Like I like to go to the casino. I'll play responsibly and I have fun doing it, even if I lose the money. You could do that with a break if you like breaking or you like ripping a box of cards. If it's $1,000 hobby box, like Joe said, if you're within your means to do it and it's not going to hurt other areas of your life, but by all means do it. Have fun, but find what makes you happy. Don't just be like always constantly feeling the pressure of, well, how do I pay for this? Or how do I pay this credit card bill that I put this on? Or I haven't gotten a hit in a long time and I'm so far behind. Watch my retail rips breaks. But
Uno.
Find a way to enjoy the hobby. And people that are smart are people that do find a way to enjoy the hobby because they'll keep doing it. You'll keep getting enjoyment out of it. And isn't that really what this is supposed to be about? Any way you like to do it, you want to do it to be happy and have fun.
I feel like all of these topics are like they're common sense, right? Like a lot of the stuff is like just common sense. You should be thinking about this, but I think a lot of people don't think about it and they don't like it doesn't crystallize for them.
Carried away in this hobby.
Yes. Yeah. And so but I feel like this maybe, as much as I said, number one was the most important one. Like if you're doing this hobby and you're not happy, if you're on Twitter and you're complaining about the grades you got, or you're complaining about the amount you paid for that box, you need to shift things up and you need to find what like sparks happiness in you. Like you need to like this. It's supposed to be a pastime. It's supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun with it, if there are parts of it that you're not having fun with, find a way to change it up. Find a way to not do that thing, at least for a little while, and see if maybe you can find something else that you enjoy more. Like this, again, it sounds like common sense. It's not that hard, but I think people get in their mind, well, if I'm not grading, if I'm not sending 100 cards in to get graded and getting all my PSA 10s, then I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing the hobby right. What's not what this is about. If you're doing that, then you are in it for the wrong reasons. If you're not having fun, then you need to find something. So a different way to maybe consider a different way to hobby.
Consider a different hobby.
Consider a different hobby. I'll to me, I think a lot of the problems that we come into with the hobby is too many people are trying to do the hobby like other people tell them to do the hobby. Bingo. They don't do it for themselves. And they look on Instagram or they look on Twitter or whatever, and they're like, oh, that guy has this collection. I need to do that. No. Does that make you happy? Would collecting PSA 10 Tom Brady rookie cards make you happy? Oh, you never liked Tom Brady? Then why are you do what makes you happy? It's not a keeping up with the Joneses thing. And EP, I'm going to defer a minute to you to talk about two things that I'm very upset you did not bring up.
No.
Don't yuck other people's yums. And tell us when you are happiest in the hobby, EP.
When I'm happiest?
So many times that if you don't say what I think you're going to say, I'll look like an idiot. But Tell us when you're happiest in the hobby.
I'm happiest in the hobby when, like, pretty much when I'm doing all 5 of these things, I guess, is kind of what it is. Like when I am buying stuff, and then I'm selling stuff, and then I'm packing stuff, and I'm shipping it out to somebody, a final collector, like all those things together. And I'm getting a little choked up, saying it. Like, I'm really, like, it's weird. It's very weird, but I do, like, I enjoy this hobby so much that is the case. And I also, you shouldn't get other people's yums. That's you are doing the opposite of what we're talking about, like the collecting, do what you do, makes you happy. Like, if you're taking other people's yums, you are causing them pain, and you are being part of the problem, and you need to same deal. Maybe you need to find a different hobby.
I didn't expect to get EP to be choked up, so kudos to me, I guess. Yeah, that worked out. I'm good. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I was looking for EP, because you said you're happiest in the hobby when you do, the buying, the selling, the trading, the shipping, the packing, all that stuff. You know, that's what makes you happy. What makes me happy is I have a collection. I want to build that collection out, and I'm not looking at anyone else saying, oh, I should stop collecting Star Trek cards and start collecting football or wrestling or whatever. That's not for me. I want to collect what I want to collect, whether someone likes it or not. And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. What makes you what makes you happy?
Don't let influencers influence you. That's the moral of the story here. Unless it's us.
Right.
We're allowed to.
And we're the good ones.
And you're Rick McKee.
We're the good ones.
Alan Ginter insert cards from back in 2012.
Oh, stopped with the 2012. Well, there you have it. That actually felt pretty good. After we did a podcast this week that we talked about a lot of negative stories. It was draining. This felt really good to talk about the things that smart collectors do. Let us know in the comments. We always like to interact with people in the comments. Let us know what you think makes a collector smart. But other than that, I will be back next week with both of these guys.
Maybe. Maybe. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. You never know. Take nothing for granted now. All right, guys. See you next week, guys.
See you, boys.
See ya.